Okay, so the next project that I worked on was for the Founders Jam 2017. So for those of you unfamiliar, which is going to be literally every single person watching this, I attend a university called the University of Advancing Technology, and every year, once a year, they host the Founders Jam. And the Founders Jam is for UAT students or whoever would like to attend. And being this was my first, I believe it was my first semester. Yes, it was my first semester at UAT. I just started as a game programming major, and when this jam happened, I was super excited, and I didn't really know anyone at the college, so I decided that I would do the game jam solo and see what I could do. And when the game jam finally announced the theme, it was plants. And I thought, wow, that is a terrible theme. I hate that. It sucks. So I wandered around and I walked around for maybe an hour and a half trying to think of anything that I could make under this theme. And I had been playing a game on Roblox. Wow, that's embarrassing. I had been playing a game on Roblox in which you automate a farm and like try to just sort of wiggle your plants into the right place so that you can farm stuff. And I was like, you know what? That's plant related. I'll just remake that, but in Game Maker. And I literally did that, stole the name and everything. I did not come up with the name Farn. That goes all credit to Wheatley's. But I've talked to him about it afterward. He's totally okay with it. I'm not planning on like marketing this game or anything, so it's not going to make a difference. But yes, the original name Farn I did not create by myself. But anyway, the idea is that you create farms and automate things and earn money. So if I get into this, this was my first time basically making a game by myself, a complete game by myself. So you have your basic options, full screen, mute, and everything in this game is really small. All of the sprites in this game are like really small. If once we get into it, I think most of them are like 16 by 16, something like that, because I'm not a good artist and I just wanted to make the game look as good as possible. So once we hit start game, I don't need any help, but there is a tutorial and I kind of want to see it, so I'm going to hit yes. Okay, welcome to Farn. You may press enter at any time to skip the tutorial. Space to advance, okay. Farn is a game about growing food, making money, and automation. Okay. First thing you should do is open the build menu. Okay. Most important building in the game is the depositor. Without it, you won't make any money. I suggest buying one now. Okay. So I click on the depositor and then I click somewhere else. Now you need to seed a seed to plant. Right click, click and drag the strawberry seed to purchase it. And then right click while holding a seed to not plant it. Okay. Your objective is to plant seeds and sell the results. You can automate this process with new buildings. Also remember that each plant grows in a different way. Keep an eye on your money. If you can't afford any seeds and have nothing to sell, you'll have to start over. In case you need to rotate or sell an already built building, use these buttons at the bottom. Deleting a finished building will only refund 50% of its costs, so be careful. Last thing to note, what each plant is worth changes depending on what you've been selling. Keep track of the prices in the black boxes at the bottom. Good luck, have fun, automate, experiment, and get creative. This is a kind of hard game to explain, so I apologize in advance. Yeah, so the concept of this game is basically you plant something, it grows, it drops plants in different places, and then you can cash them out, get some money, and buy new stuff. So for a quick example of automation, you can see that the strawberries will drop to the left and right blocks. So one thing you can do is cache one of them. So if we plant right here, one will automatically drop into this cash dispenser. And then we can create a reseeder like this. We'll rotate it and put it down. So when what happens with a reseeder is when you drop a plant onto it, it becomes a seed again. And then we can build a conveyor, and we're going to need a replanter. So we unlock the planter and drop it there. So now we have an automated strawberry farm. And this is going to make us a decent amount of money. We can actually double up this process if we want to. So as you notice, I can actually use hotkeys. I wanted to make sure that you could play this game comfortably, so you can use hotkeys to buy seeds, to buy plants, and buildings. And one thing that's actually good in this game that I'm still pretty happy about is the way the UI looks. I think the UI in this game is fairly clean. It's not great, but like it's pretty good for what it is. Obviously there's some text that juts out a little bit to the side. That's my bad. I was a little bit too lazy to fix that, but... So if I want to double up this process here, I just need one of those, and boom. Now I'm making bank on these strawberries, but there is of course the other seeds that grow in different ways. This is a potato seed. This is a tomato seed. The potatoes drop, I think, on the same spot. Let me see. Yeah, they drop one spot above always, and they drop between 2 and 4. Let's see. I have a description probably. Drops 2 to 4 potatoes, 1 tile up from where it's planted. The tomato drops 2 to 3 tomatoes on the same tile, and then the coconut drops 3 coconuts in random positions around the spot. So each of these is a different challenge to farm, and because of that you have other things like a sorter. The sorter will put seeds to one side and non-seeds to another side, so that can be good for stuff. You have the alternator. The alternator will send one thing to the left and then it to the right, so like that. So that can be used to sort things. You have a jumper. The jumper is actually interesting because it doubles as a planter. But basically, what the jumper does, I can't afford one right now. I'm actually low on money. What the jumper does is, if I build one here, it will jump something 2 tiles over, and then if it's able to be planted, it'll plant it as well. So the last building I haven't talked about is this right here. This is the pusher. So the pusher is actually sort of interesting. It will push things out of the tiles that they're in, like that, into the next tile. So that can be useful for stuff. And then obviously you can rotate any buildings you want to and break stuff, or you can just delete them and sell them all. But yeah. This game also has some original music that I made. I was getting better at making chiptunes at the time, and I'm still pretty happy with the song. It's not great, it doesn't loop perfectly, but it is okay. But yeah, that's the basics of farm. It was my first time making a game by myself. I'm still relatively happy with all of the art in the game. Some stuff like the potato seed, the coconut seeds, and the coconuts as well themselves aren't the greatest looking, but they do the job. And I think that, yeah, I think that if I spent more time, maybe met up with some artists, I could make this into a full game, and it'd be cool. So if we look into the code of this game, it's actually pretty bad. It's mostly spaghetti code. The sprites really are not organized in any meaningful way here. I was a game programming major for less than a month at this point, I think, so I really hadn't had any instruction on what to do, so I was basically using all my previous Game Maker knowledge and just learning stuff. So I actually do have some comments, though, so that's good. But, whoa. Wow. So this is how I did the UI, apparently. Holy crap. This is awesome. And then down here, this must be, yeah, buying different things. God, yeah, spaghetti code for sure. But I actually use different functions, which is something that I really didn't do a lot in Game Maker before. Something that's really useful that everyone should use. I remember actually this stuff right here, rotate, delete, unlock seed, buy seed, these were not functions for like half the time I was programming it, and I was like, I am copy pasting a lot. Maybe I should just reuse the same code instead of copy pasting. So, yep, slowly learning the basics of being a programmer, one day at a time. And I think the rest of this code is pretty self-explanatory. The game is actually very, very simple in terms of its mechanics. It's just the gameplay that's interesting. So, like, obviously, when you have an object on a conveyor, just move it in that direction, right? If you have a seed that touches a cedar, plant it in the direction that the cedar is pointing. So, like, most of the stuff is pretty simple. The challenges for this game, for me, were mostly drawing stuff and staying awake the whole time. I think I stayed awake for 36 hours out of 48. something like that. I maybe longer than that, but I stayed awake for way too much of the time. And yeah, it was an interesting time in my life. But that's about it for Farn. There's really not much else to talk about. I did actually make a mobile port of this game. It can be played on Android phones. And since the controls were mostly click and then click again, it's pretty playable. The only problem is the sprites are so small. I think every sprite in this game is like 16 by 16, so actually physically clicking on a strawberry is just so difficult, because a strawberry is like is this big right here. That's how big the strawberry sprite is. So good luck clicking on that one. But yep, that's it for Farn.